Hello everyone, welcome back. The topic for today is endodontic flare-ups, which is one of the endodontic emergency. Now, when we are doing endodontic treatment, it's not always that we are doing the treatment easily. There are some cases in which you can find some complications and there will be some emergencies. So this endodontic flare-up is one of them. Now, this endodontic emergency, it is divided into three types that can be before treatment, one can be during the treatment, and one more can be after the treatment. So you encounter the endodontic emergency at any of this time. So endodontic flare up, it is the one which is during the treatment. So now your endodontic treatment, it is divided into basic three parts, that is the root canal opening. The next one is the biomechanical preparation in which you do the cleaning and shaping. The third one is the obturation. So now this endodontic flare up, it is usually seen or it is usually encountered after the cleaning and shaping. So after the cleaning and shaping, you appoint the patient after 2 to 3 days. So before that appointment, the patient, they like have severe pain, and that is nothing but the endodontic flare up, due to which they have to come to the clinic without the appointment. So that is nothing but the endodontic emergency. So basically endodontic emergency is nothing but the patient is having swelling or pain. So endodontic flare-up, it is described as the occurrence of the pain, swelling, or the combination of these during the course of the root canal therapy, which results in the unscheduled visits by the patient. So endodontic flare-up is nothing but the patient may be having severe pain, or they may be having swelling, or the combination of both, and this is during the treatment. That means you have done with the root canal opening, you have also done the cleaning and shaping, and you are left with the obturation. But this endodontic flare-up, it is encountered after the cleaning and shaping. So because of this, the patient, they come in the unscheduled visits. So that is nothing but the endodontic flare-up. So flare-up, it may occur with the best of the therapy, but most flare-ups, they occur when improper treatment is done or when insufficient time is allowed for the specific modality in the therapy. So if you're not doing the shaping and cleaning properly, so that can also lead to the endodontic flare-up. So because of that, you have to do all the like steps in your root canal therapy properly so that you don't end up having any emergency or any complications. So inter-appointment flare-ups, it causes pain, it causes swelling, and it occurs within hours or day following the procedure, and it requires unscheduled visits for the emergency treatment. So the incidence of this endodontic flare-up, it is 1.4 to 16%. Now, which are the various predisposing factor for this endodontic flare-up? So you have two types of factor, that can be significant factor and other factors. So significant factors, you have four, that is shaping errors, cleaning errors, then there can be pulpo-periapical status, and one more can be the retreatment cases. And in other factors, you have anxiety, preoperative history of pain, age, and gender. So first we are going to see about the shaping errors. So now, as I have said, this endodontic treatment is divided into three types, and endodontic flare up, it is usually seen after the cleaning and shaping. So if you are doing any shaping error, so that can lead to the endodontic flare up. So first shaping error can be over instrumentation. So when you are doing the instrumentation, or when you're following the step back technique or the crown down technique, any of the shaping technique, and in that case if you do over instrumentation, so that can lead to the forcing of debris into the periradicular region. Because of that, there will be acute inflammatory response. So when there is inflammation, so that will lead to the pain to the patient. So this is the first shaping error. Now over here in this diagram, so these are the various debris which is present in your canal. So when you're doing over instrumentation, so that will lead to the forcing of this debris into this periradicular space, and because of that there will be this acute inflammatory response. The next shaping error will be the under instrumentation. So under instrumentation, so this may provide pulpal remnants for the persistent of the microorganism. So this results in the previously asymptomatic infection to become symptomatic. Now over here, this was the case. Now in this, now if you are not doing the shaping properly, so that is nothing but the under instrumentation. So that will lead to the pulpal remnants in your pulp space, and because of that, there will be pain to the patient, because now if this space, it was asymptomatic, but now as you have done the instrumentation, and if you haven't done the instrumentation properly, so this space, so the patient, they were asymptomatic, but now because of this like manipulation, so this space, it becomes symptomatic. So this is the next like predisposing factor in your shaping error, that is the under instrumentation. The next one is the shaping technique. So improper shaping protocol, that can cause extrusion of debris, and this is a cause of a endodontic flare up. So if you're not doing these shaping techniques, now we have various shaping techniques, that is the step back, crown down, hybrid. So basically you'll see that the crown down technique has more like less of the endodontic flare up emergency when you're comparing it with the step back technique, because in step back technique there will be more of the extrusion of the debris in the periradicular space, and because of that, because of the step back technique, you will have more of the endodontic flare up. So this was about the shaping errors. The next one is about the cleaning errors. Now about this cleaning errors we are going to see in the later part of this video. The next one is the pulpoperiapical status. Now in this you'll see that if the pulp is vital, so they will have fewer flare-ups when you're comparing it with the necrotic pulp, and similarly the teeth with the acute alveolar abscess, they have a higher incidence of the flare-ups. The next is the retreatment cases. So in this they have seen that there are higher chances of having the endodontic flare-up in the retreatment cases. So this is about the significant factors that can lead to the endodontic flare-up. Now the other factors are anxiety. So this is again one of the reason why the patient may have the endodontic flare up. So if a patient they expect pain to occur during the endodontic treatment, so there is an increased likelihood that there will be this endodontic flare up. The next one is the pre-operative history of pain. So if the patient is having pre-operative history of pain, so that can also lead to the endodontic flare up. The next one is age. So you'll see that in age, the older patient, they will have less chances of endodontic flare up when you're comparing it with the younger patient. Now this is due to the narrowing of the diameter of the root and decreased blood flow in the alveolar bone, and this results in a weaker inflammatory response, due to which older patient they will have less chances of endodontic flare up. And the next one is about the gender. So in this post-operative pain, it is more common amongst the women's when you're comparing it with the men's. So this is about the other factors, that is your anxiety, pre-operative history of pain, age and gender. So one more predisposing factor was your cleaning error. So now we do in cleaning and shaping. So as the name says, we are shaping it and we are cleaning it. So if we are not shaping the canal properly, so that can lead to endodontic flare up. But now over here, if we are not doing the cleaning also properly, so that can also lead to endodontic flare up. So now in the video of step back technique, hybrid technique or the crown down technique, so we have said that we are doing the irrigation again and again, and even we are recapitulating the canal. So now we are doing the irrigation, but now that's this irrigation is very important step, but if you're not doing the irrigation properly, so that can lead to the endodontic flare up. So that comes in the cleaning error. So that is nothing but the irrigant extrusion. That means what you're doing is you're pushing the debris into the periradicular space with the help of that irrigant. So the standard regime for irrigation which we are commonly using is the sodium hypochlorite with 17% EDTA gel. So now what happens is, if you are pushing or if you are doing the extrusion of the irrigant beyond the periapex, so that is nothing but the sodium hypochlorite accident, and it can be one of the cause for your endodontic flare up. So that is nothing but you are pushing the irrigant forcefully in this periapical space, and that can lead to the endodontic flare up. So what are the various signs of this accident? So in this, the patient they may be having severe pain, and it is especially when they are not under the local anesthesia. And if the patient they are under the local anesthesia, so even after that they will complain of the irritation in the periradicular area. Then there will be sudden flooding of the canal with blood and the tissue fluids, and there will be ballooning of the tissue because of the swelling of the soft tissue. So these are the various signs that you have encountered about this hypochlorite accident. So how are you going to manage this case? Now if you're not doing the irrigation properly, if you are forcing the irrigant forcefully into the periapical space, so that can lead to this accident. So now if this accident has occurred, so how are you going to manage it? So in this, first you're going to inform the patient about this. Then what you're going to do is you're going to give the block anesthesia, because now in this the local anesthesia, so we have seen in the signs that even after the local anesthesia the patient they may complain of the irritation. So because of that you're going to give the block anesthesia to the patient. Then after that, the bleeding from the canal, it is continuously allowed to flow, since this is a defense physiological mechanism, and in this the canal it is flooded with the normal saline, so that the accumulated blood it comes out and the level of the pain it decreases. So now in this, now after this accident, what you're going to do is you're going to just irrigate the canal with the saline, so that whatever the blood is, it comes out through the canal. Then the sodium hypochlorite, it can dissolve both the normal and the infected tissue. So post sodium hypochlorite accident, the periradicular area, it remains inflamed and the tissues, they are necrosed. So it is preferred that the patient, it is immediately placed on the like antibiotics therapy and the analgesics. So you're going to give the patient antibiotics and analgesics so that the pain, it is reduced, and then you're going to call the patient for the follow-up periodically, and that is the management for your this like accident, that is your sodium hypochlorite accident. And because of this you have to prevent, so you have to prevent this accident. So because of this you can use a side vented needle so that you're not pushing the debris if you're using the normal needle. So because of that you're going to push the debris into the like periradicular space. So because of that what you can do is you can use a side vented needle, and it is said that you have to like irrigate the canal 3 mm short of the working length in the posterior teeth, and it is 1 mm short of the working length in the anterior teeth. So this is about the cleaning errors and how you can manage if this sodium hypochlorite accident it occurs. Now, what is the mechanism of action for the endodontic flare-up? So in this, there will be the microbial infection and the periapical inflammation. So basically your root canal treatment, it is indicated when the infection and the inflammation is present. So there is this microbial infection and periapical inflammation which is present in the patient. So there can be two scenarios. That can be this inflammation, it can progress and the patient, they may be having severe pain and they are coming to the clinic. Or there is one more option, that can be the local adaptation syndrome or the local adaptation response. Now what do you mean by local adaptation response? Now as the name says adaptation, so the patient, they are like adapted to this inflammation or this infection. So that means the patient, they are asymptomatic and the disease, it is remained in the patient without progressing. So that is nothing but the local adaptation response. But now by chance if you see that there is this inflammation which is present in the regular checkup, you have seen that the patient is having this inflammation or infection. So because of that you start with your root canal treatment. So there is this initiation of the root canal treatment. Now, as you are starting with this root canal treatment, so you're going to cause the irritation to this like adapted response to the patient. Now, as the patient, they have adapted to this inflammation, and now you have started with the treatment. So this treatment, it will act as the irritant. So there is this introduction of the irritant. So irritant, it can be in the form of your irrigants or it can be in the form of your medicaments. So now when you're doing the root canal therapy, you have this intracanal medicaments, like you have this intracanal medicaments, and in this like you are doing the alteration of the tissue proteins. So that is nothing but the irritants to this local adaptation response of the patient. And because of this introduction of irritants, there will be this severe inflammatory response, and if there is severe inflammatory response, that will lead to the pain and the swelling to the patient. That is nothing but your endodontic flare up. So this is about the mechanism of action for your endodontic flare up. Now, how is the pain propagated? So in this, if there is a periradicular injury, so now what we have done is we have started with the root canal therapy, and like by any chance you are doing the periradicular injury by over instrumentation or by the extrusion of the irrigant, so there will be this periradicular injury. So because of this injury, there will be release of the chemical substance, and in this some chemical mediators, they directly stimulate the nerve fibers. Now, if there is this chemical substances which are released because of this injury in the body mechanism, so there will be this vasodilation and there will be vascular permeability chemotaxis. And this permeability, vascular permeability, it will lead to the edema, that is, it will lead to the swelling, and there will be exudation. So this is because of this periradicular injury that the patient, they may be having this swelling. And if this chemical mediators, they directly stimulate the nerve fibers, so because of that there will be compression of your nerves, and because of that the patient, they may be having pain. So this is like how you get the swelling and the pain because of the injury to your periradicular space. Now this endodontic flare up, it is basically caused because of any of these three factors, that can be physical, bacterial or chemical. So physical can be your instrumentation, bacterial if there are any bacteria which are present already, and chemicals when you're using the irrigants, so that is your chemicals. So because of any of this, there will be pain or swelling. Like if there is physical, you're doing the instrumentation, so because of that the tissue, you're damaging the tissue which the patient was adapted to. So because of the damage to the tissue, there will be inflammation, there will be release of these chemical mediators, there will be this transudation or exudation, and that will lead to the pain and swelling. So this is about the physical. Now bacterial, again bacterial, there will be infection. So if there is infection, there will be inflammation. Or because of bacterial, so the body, they have mechanism immune response to the bacteria. So because of this immune response, again you have this inflammation. So again, it will lead to the chemical mediators release and there will be pain and swelling. So chemically, it will be like when you're inserting the irrigants into the canal, so that can lead to the tissue damage again, and again it will lead to the inflammation, and there will be the release of the chemical mediators that will lead to the pain and swelling. That is nothing but your endodontic flare up. So any of these three can lead to the endodontic flare up. Now, how are you going to manage the case of the endodontic flare-up? So, first treatment modality, it will be the incision and drainage. So, the rationale for an incision and drainage, it is to facilitate the evacuation of the pus, microorganisms, and the toxic products from the periradicular tissue. Now, we know in the endodontic flare-up, the periradicular space, it is injured, and because of that, there can be accumulation of pus. Because of that, only the patient is having swelling, and there will be like compression of the nerves, and because of that, the patient, they are having pain. So in this incision and drainage, what you're doing is you're going to remove all that pus, you're going to remove the microorganisms and the toxic product, and moreover, what you're going to do in through this incision and drainage, you're going to decompress the like periradicular tissue pressure, and because of that, the patient, they may be having patient pain relief, and this is the first treatment modality for your endodontic flare up. The next one is the intracanal medicaments. Now we know we have various types of intracanal medicaments, but now in this like endodontic flare up, the intracanal medicaments that we commonly use, that are the formocresol, then the iodine potassium iodide, or the calcium hydroxide, they are usually not helpful. So because of that, you have to use the intracanal steroids, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or a corticosteroid antibiotic compound, so that you can reduce the post-treatment pain. So this is about the intracanal medicaments, that you can use this various types of intracanal medicaments. And the next treatment modality, it will be the anxiety reduction. So as we have seen the predisposing factor, one of the reason for the endodontic flare up was anxiety. So if you see that because of anxiety the patient is having this endodontic flare up, you're going to reduce that anxiety. The next treatment modality, it can be the occlusal reduction. So now in this, like when the patient, they bite or chew, so because of that, there will be severe pain which you will see in the patients of endodontic flare up. So what you're doing is you're going to reduce the occlusal height of that particular tooth, so that the pain of the patient, it is reduced. But now in literature, this occlusal reduction, it has shown very less like evidence of having like results in the endodontic flare up. So you will see that this occlusal reduction is helpful now when the patient, they are biting or chewing. So because of that, there will be increased level of the inflammatory mediators, and because of that, it is stimulating the periradicular receptors. So now if you're reducing that only, so if you're reducing that occlusal height, so because of that, it will reduce in the mechanical stimulation of this receptor, and by that, the pain of the patient, it will also be reduced. So this is the next treatment modality, that you're reducing the height of that particular tooth. The next can be you're giving the patient the analgesia, that can be the NSAID. So you're prescribing the patient with the various types of analgesics, so that to reduce that pain. So these are the various treatment modality for your endodontic flare-ups. Now, which are the various precautions which are taken by the clinicians so as to prevent the endodontic flare-up? First one is the proper diagnosis. So in this, you're going to first diagnose the correct tooth which is having the pain. The next thing that you're going to see is whether the tooth, it is vital or non-vital. The third thing that you're going to see is if the tooth is associated with any periapical lesion. The next precaution that you need to take is you're going to determine correct working length. And this working length, it can be determined with the help of apex locator and with the help of the radiographs. Because now if you're not doing the correct working length, if you're not determining the correct working length, so that will lead to various like endodontic emergencies and complications. So because of that, you need to see, or you need to determine the working length very properly. The next one is the complete extirpation of the vital pulp. So whenever you're doing the cleaning and shaping, so before starting with the cleaning and shaping, what you're doing is you're with the help of barb broach, you're just going to completely remove all of the pulp, so that you're not like having any emergency or complication later. The next one is the irrigation. So now in this, the combination which is very well used is the combination of the irrigants such as sodium hypochlorites and chlorhexidine. So in this, now again, irrigation is to be done properly. You should not forcefully like force the irrigant into the periradicular space. The next one is the you're going to avoid filling too close to the radiographic apex. The next one is you're going to reduce the tooth from occlusion, especially if the apex is severely violated by the over instrumentation. Then you're going to place the intracanal medicaments, and then you're going to prescribe the mild analgesia and antibiotics whenever the condition it warrants it. So these are the various precautions that you need to take if you want to prevent the endodontic flare up. That means basically you have to do your like shaping and cleaning properly so that you don't end up having this endodontic flare up. So now that you know what exactly endodontic flare up is and what are the various reasons that causes this endodontic flare up. Now if you know the reason, so it becomes very easy to prevent such scenarios. And if in such cases you cannot also prevent it, so you know exactly how to manage such cases so that you don't end up in having any complication or you don't end up like losing the tooth. So you should know exactly what all these various endodontic emergencies are and how you can manage them. So this was one of it. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, then please like, comment, share and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.